Senator from Alabama.
Madam President, reclaiming my time, I come to the floor to sound the alarm, as a lot of my colleagues are, about the crisis at our southern border. You know, I've been there over 3 years, and I've never seen this group try to do more for people out of our country than within our country. It's amazing. But this is the worst border crisis in our history. Since Joe Biden took office, there have been at least 8 million illegal crossings at our southern border that we know of. This is in addition to the 2 million gotaways. These are the illegals that we know of. The real number is probably much, much higher. Border crossings are at a record high. Deportations are at a record low. Why is this happening? You know, it didn't come out of the blue. This is a policy choice by President Biden and his allies here in Congress. We've been talking about this now for 3 years, asking why. And we've not got one good answer yet. Why is our borders open? Joe Biden campaigned on opening up our borders. He campaigned on giving free health care to illegal aliens. So, it's no surprise that he's keeping his promise. Since taking office, President Biden has taken 94 executive actions related to immigration. 94. We've got the same laws on the books as we did when President Trump was in office. But President Trump secured the border. Joe Biden has opened our border more than it ever has been in the history of this country. Let's take a look at just a few of these executive actions. First, President Biden stopped building the wall. In fact, he's been selling off parts of the wall for pennies on the dollar. I know people in Alabama that have bought stacks of steel that the American taxpayers paid in lots, $300,000 for these certain lots. $300,000 of American taxpayer money. These people now can go online at an auction and buy these lots for 10 cents on the dollar. So, I know people that have bought $300,000 lots for $30,000, just throwing taxpayer money down the drain. Same thing with the razor wire, same thing for other parts of the wall that are being sold. They're just basically being given away. So, we've been selling parts, but President Biden, nobody told him to do it. He did it on his own. He chose to do it. President Biden got rid of President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. That was the most effective policy we've seen in discouraging the abuse of our asylum system in years. I've been down the border several times, and Border Patrol has told me time and time again, finish the wall. That's the best thing we can do here. It won't stop it, but it will give us an opportunity to police the wall, make them come in through certain sections of the wall, and allow us to have some kind of border security. President Biden is currently suing the state of Texas to get them to stop securing the border. Let's think about that for a second. The President of the United States is suing a border state for stopping illegal immigrants from coming into our country. That doesn't sound quite right. You know, I'm proud that my state of Alabama has sent Texas hundreds of National Guardsmen to help them police Texas's borders. Unfortunately, President Biden is trying to stop them from doing that. And as I mentioned, Joe Biden has essentially stopped all deportations right now, completely stopped it. He's not letting ICE do their job, immigration, police. All these policies have led to this unprecedented crisis. They've also sent a message to the world. If you can get here, you can get in, and you'll never, never have to leave. That message has been heard around the world loud and clear. There's 193 countries around the world, and we know of 190 countries have been accounted for coming across our southern borders. Illegal aliens have literally crossed our border wearing Joe Biden t-shirts. I would imagine the American taxpayers somehow paid for those. TV reporters have asked people coming across our border why they came across. Time and time again, they say because President Biden invited them. That's on television. Fox News recorded one illegal in Tucson saying, "I love you, Joe Biden. Thank you for everything." That migrant was not from Mexico. He was from Africa. People are coming here from every corner of the globe. People are flying to Mexico and then walking across our border. The whole world knows that our border is open. These illegal aliens are criminals, drug traffickers. Just last year, nearly 500 people on the terror watch list were caught trying to cross our southern border. 500. Now, you'd think that would open somebody's eyes. You'd think it would go all the way up Pennsylvania Avenue. But nobody seems to care. Just a few weeks ago, Christopher Wray, the FBI director, says something bad is going to happen. This is Christopher Wray, the guy that runs our FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, said something's going to happen. He seemed like in his voice he was begging somebody to do something, but nobody has. But just imagine how many, if 500 have been caught, how many more terrorists have come across the border unchecked. It doesn't take many, it only takes a few. 9/11 was committed by 19 foreigners here on visas, 19. It only takes a small group to do terrible, terrible damage. But Americans are already dying because of the border crisis. We all know that. We're here to protect American citizens, but we're losing. We're losing that battle. More than 300,000 Americans. 300,000 Americans have died from drug overdoses since Joe Biden took office. 300,000. I met with a police chief at Montgomery, Alabama, not too long ago. He said, "Coach, I'd never heard the word fentanyl until 2 years ago. And now it's 95% of what we have on our streets here in Montgomery, Alabama, killing young people. That's roughly half of the Americans killed in the Civil War, 300,000, and that was the most deadliest war in American history." The governor of Oregon recently declared a state of emergency over fentanyl. The governor of Oregon, and the governor is a Democrat, but she declared a state of emergency. Where does she think the fentanyl is coming from? She should demand that the people that represent the constituents in her state do something about what's happening. Federal law enforcement has said for years that almost all of these drugs are coming over the southern border. You don't have to take my word for it. That's what the DEA has said for years, under Obama, under Trump, and under Biden. They said most of the drugs that come into our country come across the southern border. Every day we fail to secure our border, another 150 Americans die from overdoses. 150 a day, a plane load of people. This is in addition to Americans who are victims of crime committed by illegals. A few weeks ago, we saw the video of illegal aliens attacking New York City police officers. New York City is a sanctuary city. In fact, New York City is giving out free money on debit cards to illegal aliens as we speak. American citizens don't qualify for this money that the New York City government is giving out. If you're a citizen, you don't qualify for it. American citizens just have to pay for it. Yet New Yorkers wonder why there is a magnet pulling illegal aliens from all over the world into their city. I wonder why that is. New York State is also a sanctuary city. That was a policy choice by the current governor. That means they do not cooperate with ICE. That's what a sanctuary city does. When an illegal commits a crime in New York or Philadelphia or Boston, they do not get sent to ICE when their jail time is up. It doesn't matter what crime they commit. My Democratic colleagues want these criminals to stay in our country because they don't want them to have to be sent home, because that's exactly what ICE would do. In the New York case, these illegals who attacked the NYPD officers were jailed and then released without bail. They were let back on the street where they can continue to commit crimes against Americans. This case shows you how much Democrats care about our police officers. Defund the police, that's all I've heard since I've been here. Really? They want police to go out and arrest the same people and over and over and over again. Police are risking their lives every day. Every time they arrest someone, every time they kick in a door, they are risking their lives. Yet liberal judges and left-wing prosecutors will just let criminals go back on the street again, again, and again. Democrats, like President Biden, talk about a lot of compassion in our immigration system. We've got to be compassionate. They don't have any compassion for Americans. They don't have compassion for Americans like Kate Steinle, who was murdered in San Francisco. They don't have compassion for the woman who was raped by an illegal on a train recently in Philadelphia. They don't have compassion for the mother and daughter killed by a drunk driver who had allegedly been deported 4 times. When Americans get attacked or even killed by illegals, Democrats just see that as collateral damage. It's just the price of open borders. It's clearly more important to them to keep the border open than to bring justice to the victims. Protect American citizens, what an idea. Just weeks ago, the House passed legislation to deport illegals who have been caught driving drunk. Deport them. 150 House Democrats voted against deporting anybody that was illegal caught driving drunk. 150. The House also passed legislation to deport illegals who committed Social Security fraud. 150 House Democrats voted against it. Democrats want even the most basic things to secure our border. Won't do anything. Now that is an election year, obviously. Now that we've gotten to this point and people have to have votes, we're supposed to believe that our Democratic colleagues have had a total change of heart, because I've not seen anybody down there in 3 years and 2 months, and I've been going once or twice a year. I've not seen any of my Democratic colleagues down there. I would be shocked if I didn't see somebody down there in the near future, because it is an election year. They're paying lip service to the crisis at the border. They don't listen to their rhetoric. Look at their actions. Democrats are not doing anything of substance that would actually help. President Biden could start by undoing all 94 executive actions on immigration. We didn't need to do that, but he did it because he wants open borders. Earlier today, I spoke at length about why the Schumer-Murphy border bill is not good enough. I won't belabor the point, but as Senator Murphy said, under their bill, the border never closes down. That gets pretty much to the point. Even at 5,000 crossings a day, we would still process 1,400 illegals per day. 1,400. This is like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. Why even worry about it? The acceptable number of illegal crossings is not 5,000. It's not 4,000. It's 0. In a TV interview a few days ago, Chris Murphy said, failed to deliver for the American people we care about most. No, they care more about the undocumented Americans. What is an documented American? Undocumented is just a left-wing code for illegal. They don't like using the word illegal. The term used in federal law is illegal alien. That's who we are talking about. These are not Americans who lost their paperwork and just can't find their documents or lost their passport. These are illegal aliens who have no right to be here. First, we stop them from coming in, and then we deport the ones who are here. For decades, we've been told that there are about 11 or 12 million illegals here right now. I would say that's very, very short on numbers, but this is a huge problem. Alabama's population is 6 million, my home state. So there are 2 states of Alabama's worth of illegals already here before Joe Biden let in the other 8 million. This takes away power from American citizens. They're overrunning our hospitals, our schools. They're even affecting the balance of power in Congress and the Electoral College. Seats in the House of Representatives are divided up based on census. Votes in the Electoral College are based on votes in Congress. Right now, illegals are counted as part of the census. A Democratic member of Congress went on TV recently and said that I need more people in my district just for redistricting purposes. The presence of tens of millions of illegals in this country is tipping power to blue cities like New York, Boston, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. It is watering down the power of the American voter. I joined with Senator Hagerty to introduce legislation to fix this. Only American citizens should have representation in Congress. We ought to count citizens only. Otherwise, our voting system is not equal for all Americans. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. This is an American issue. But it looks like a partisan issue when Democrats in Congress go on television and say they need more illegals in their state for redistricting. Democrats have shown no willingness to stop this crisis, none. They put out some press releases and a few vague statements in the press, but they have taken no meaningful action in 3 years. Action speaks louder than words. Remember, President Trump had the same laws on the books as President Biden. But President Trump secured the border. He went by the law. He went by the Constitution. Joe Biden opened it up. And so, new laws are not absolutely necessary, but certain new laws would be very helpful. And so, right now I would like to propose an amendment to the Ukraine bill that would actually secure the border. My amendment is still a bill I've introduced called the Border Safety and Security Act. The bill would simply suspend all legal entries completely until the Department of Homeland Security has operational control over the border. My amendment also prohibits mass parole programs. The Schumer border bill would have allowed parole programs to continue at an unlimited pace. My amendment prohibits catch and release and requires detention. The Schumer bill would require the release of illegal aliens. The Schumer bill would have allowed up to 4,999 border crossings a day. My amendment would mean 0 crossings as soon as it is signed into law. It also allows states to sue the administration if it doesn't do its job and enforce the laws. We should not pass a Ukraine bill until we first pass a border bill worthy of the name. That was my position in December, and it's my position now. Either we will end this border crisis or this border crisis will end us. I yield the floor.
Madam President.
Senator from Kentucky.